First things first, what is CRM? CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And nowadays, when you hear someone say CRM, they typically are referring to the software that helps and enables within the sales operations. Sales operations being the day-to-day activities that are necessary to keep your pipeline running. A couple important things to understand before we dive into what a CRM can do. One, CRM is the fastest growing software market today. Number two, 91% of businesses with over 11 employees now use CRM. Number three, for companies that use a CRM, the average return on their technology investment is $8.71 for every dollar spent. So the question is, why is there such a movement to get CRMs? I will explain it to you through a statistic given to us by HubSpot in their research. I will link the article down below. Salespeople spend just 1/3 of their day actually talking to prospects. They spend 21% of their time or their day writing emails, 17% entering data, 17% prospecting and researching leads, 12% going to internal meetings, and 12% scheduling calls. So the problem here is there is so much friction within sales processes today, and it makes it difficult for salespeople to sell. And so the idea of a CRM is that if you can reduce the friction of the sales process for your reps and for your customers, you can increase the amount you can sell. How do you reduce the friction of your sales process? Well, it's through configurations, automations, and integrations. So I'm going to go through a few things that a CRM can do. You can see in this T chart on the right-hand side, I have what can a CRM do? And then I have scenarios on the left. So I didn't just do sales operations. I also included a scenario for marketing customer success. This goes to more of the general concept of revenue operations. Revenue operations is not just your sales, it's both your marketing operations, sales operations, and customer success operations, the people, the systems, and the applications that you use to operate your business day to day. Alrighty, with that, let's jump to the first scenario here in marketing. As a marketing manager, you've been sent a large file full of leads. How can a CRM help? How can we reduce the friction of this process? Well, some of you might think, okay, well, I can take this file, I can throw it into my next campaign, and I'm good to go. Well, I wouldn't recommend you do that. For a few things first, when you get leads, they are not marketing qualified leads or MQLs. Marketing qualified leads means you run through certain qualification criteria. I'm just going to go over two things a CRM can do here. There are many things a CRM can do here, but one is email validation. So if you're not familiar with email validation, essentially what you can do in these modern CRMs is you can set up a workflow rule. So you can say something to the effect of, okay, when a lead is created in my system, I want to make an API call or ping another system like Outreach.io, for example, and I want to send them the email from the lead and say, is this email legit? Can I email? So why would you want to do this? Well, if you send out an email blast to emails that are not validated, that can hurt your sender reputation if you get lots of hard bounces. It just looks like you're being very spammy. So if your email reputation gets worse and worse over time, the more you're going to end up in spam, and the less effective your email campaigns and communications will be. So really important to do. So that should be a part of your marketing qualification process for leads. The second thing that a CRM can do is automatic record deduplication. So automatic record deduplication is super important. Essentially, when you get a list, there can be tons of duplicates in that list depending on the size. And so modern CRMs will literally just have a function to merge records that are exactly the same and give you an idea of records that maybe share the same email or same company, first name, last name, whatever criteria you choose, and will let you pick which of the similar records should remain and how they should merge together. Super nice and can save you a lot of time and reduce the friction of this scenario. So highly recommend that you do that. All right, number two is a sales scenario. As an account executive, and real quick, I'm just gonna back up. If you don't know what an account executive is, and I understand that some of the you that are watching are not a part of like large businesses that have a fleshed out sales team. But especially within technology sales, Sales teams are usually organized like this. They have two segments. They have sales development representatives, and they have account executives. And the idea is that of setters and closers. So sales development representatives would be the setters, and account executives would be the closers. So sales development reps would go out and qualify leads and set up an appointment for them to meet with an account executive. Just to give you an idea there. So as an account executive, you've just had your first sales discovery meeting, or the meeting that the setter booked for you, right? Time to make a proposal. How can a CRM help? So in this situation, you met with a lead that's been qualified and they are interested. They met the criteria to become a qualified lead and they are interested in your service. Now you need to draft up a proposal. Well, I can tell you that this takes a lot of time to generate a proposal. So one of the things that we can do is proposal automation. And I've got quite a bit listed here on what can a CRM do. Hopefully in other videos I can go over all of them. But for now, these are really going to be conceptual. I have a lot of videos that are in system explaining how you can do these exact things. So maybe I'll link to a few of those below. But really this video is all about providing concepts for you. So really, really cool thing that we do for a lot of different businesses is proposal automation. Now, what is proposal automation? Well, essentially what it is you can take different fields from a deal or an opportunity record within the CRM, and you can determine what sections of a proposal will show up. You can add sign automation, and you can also integrate with whatever your file storage system is. And so it's a really nice workflow. Essentially, you can click a magic button, and then via scripting, you can create the proposal. It will land in the deal record under a file storage section. Right within that record, you can go click into it, review, make sure the section's populated correctly, make sure that the fields that merge into the document, such as company name, point of contact name, were all merged correctly, and then you can just send out for signature. So super, super cool automation. This is a great example of how you can reduce the friction of your sales operations specifically. All right, moving on to the third scenario here. Another one for sales. As a sales manager, you get hit by a wave of sales qualified leads, SQLs, aka leads ready for sales outreach. How can a CRM help? So real quick, just to back up, in the same way that you need to qualify leads for marketing, such as doing email validation and data cleanup, you need to do the same for your sales qualified leads. So a typical qualification for SQLs is BANT. That stands for Budget, Authority, Needs, and Timeline. And essentially it's, do they have enough money for the service or product that we're offering? Are they the right person we're talking to? Do they need what we're offering? And can we deliver on the time frame that they're needing this done in? So that's a very basic way of qualification, but I still see it widely used today. So how can a CRM help here? Well, one thing that you can do is you can add custom fields. So I just described the BANT qualification process. I would literally add these fields to a CRM. BANT, Budget, Authority, Needs, Timeline. The next thing that I would do is I would probably build this into a blueprint. So a blueprint is essentially a way of enforcing a process within your CRM. You'll notice something a sales rep does not like to do is fill out data. And so if you don't maintain data integrity throughout your sales operations, it will be very difficult for you to report to a CRO or to a sales manager because the data is not there. So to ensure data is entered at the right time, that's really the thing about a blueprint. And it might not make sense unless you see it in system, but it's an important concept to understand so that you can apply it at the right times to a sales, to your sales ops. So essentially, the idea of a blueprint is this. when you create a record, you can make certain fields mandatory, but you don't want to make everything mandatory up front. You want to make things mandatory as statuses change or as stages change within a record, either leads or in deals. So a blueprint can enforce a process of when things need to be filled out. That way you don't just let your reps loose into your system and say, good luck, figure out what fields to fill out when. It's just built right into your system. Another really cool thing about blueprints is it reduces the amount of effort you need to put into onboarding your new sales reps into a system because the flow of the system is already built in. Another thing that I would do here that's super helpful on the CRM front is a lead outreach cadence. So I'll go over this really quickly. I've made a video, maybe I'll throw it down in the description for you to check out if you want a more in-depth description of this. But essentially a lead outreach cadence is, okay, once a lead is ready for sales, what do you do next? How do you reach out? And you can automate this. You can say on day one, we send an SMS and an email, and we say, thank you for filling out our form. We'd love to get in touch. Here's a link to book with our sales development representative, right? The setters, so that they can further qualify and then send off to an account executive. You can say, okay, if that's a lead that's still being worked, day 3, we will give them a phone call. Day 6, we will send them another email. And day 7, we will mark it as recycled. And we have a set of lead statuses that we recommend everyone has in system. I understand that some sales processes don't need to be as robust as others, but it's important to know what others are doing so that you can cherry pick what would be helpful for your business. So just to finish off lead outreach cadence, let's say day 7, you're going to mark it as recycled, or you're going to kick it back, that lead back to marketing so that they can further nurture the lead. And that can happen in a lot of different ways. For example, let's say you were to have a call with somebody and you were using your BANT criteria. And let's say they just didn't have a budget. You're talking to the right person. They need what you have, and you can deliver on the time frame that they explained to you. Well, with that, you don't want to just throw the opportunity away. You'd want to mark them as rejected, send them back into a lead nurture series drip so that they can be in constant communication automatically, and that if they ever get the budget that they need, they can go and they can re-engage with your company. All right, fourth scenario here. As a CRO, you're looking for a 30,000 foot view of sales. How can a CRM help? Well, it can help you quite a bit, and it's really hard to get this view and an accurate view of what's going on. I will preface the solutions here with this. Before you start reporting in sales, you need to get your operations down, you need to get your pipeline stages outlined, and you need to get your lead statuses outlined, and you need to train your team on how to use the system appropriately. Of course, that is a never-ending process. You will always be developing your system. You'll be trying new things and be testing new things. That's totally fine. But it is really important to dial those things in before you start reporting, because then the reports will have to change all the time. So just a quick note there. So a few things that you can do is you can do sales forecasting and advanced reporting. So let's go over sales forecasting. You've probably heard of pipeline stages. Pipeline stages basically being a way to break up your sales pipeline so that you can report on it. And so you can get an idea of where are deals or opportunities at. How close are we to closing certain deals? So typically, if your sales process is transactional, you really only need 3 stages. And those 3 or 4 stages. And I'll just give you an example. Those stages could be qualification, proposal, closed won, closed lost. Transactional sales processes are like if you were to call up Cafe Rio for a catering service for a company party. That's a pretty transactional close. It can be done really within 1 to 2 calls. There's no need for lots of different sales stages within that process. Number 2, maybe your sales process is complex or advanced. And if it's complex or advanced, we don't recommend going over more than 5 to 7 stages. I've been in a lot of systems where they have like 30 or 40 stages, and there's no need for that. After you really go over 7 stages, it becomes very difficult to train a team on how to use the CRM, and you kind of lose an idea of what each of the stages mean. So with that, you might have qualification, needs analysis, proposal, negotiation, closed won, closed lost. So there very quickly, you can just get an idea of what it looks like to break up the opportunities module or sales pipeline into different stages. So once you've done that, you can take each stage and say, hey, I know from previous reports that we close about, and you really only need to get rough estimates here, and you can dial those in over time. You know that you close about 10% of the opportunities within the qualification stage. So 10% of the opportunities that are set up for you as an account executive, you know you close about 10%. Well, with that knowledge, what you can do is you can assign a stage a percentage. And you can say, okay, I typically close about 10% of my qualified opportunities. And then on the reporting end, since you've assigned a stage a percentage, you can forecast based on the closing date or the estimated closing date of that deal that you're going to close X revenue next month, X revenue in 2 months, X revenue in 3 months, and so forth. So with that, you can do sales forecasting. Super, super helpful. Highly recommend that after your operations are dialed in, that you begin looking at building those kinds of reports. Second thing, advanced reporting. I say advanced reporting. We typically use Zoho CRM, and Zoho CRM has 3 different ways that you can do reporting. You can do these quick reports. You can build more visual-like reports and put them in a dashboard. Then you can actually take your data and throw it into a BI tool, and you can string together different tables or modules from your CRM and make very advanced reports and join it with marketing data, customer success data, that being like projects or campaigns that they've been a part of. So advanced reporting can also give you an idea of what's sourced your pipeline, what different campaigns have sourced your pipeline, and then how long it takes to complete the projects associated with the sources that source your pipeline. So you can just get very advanced reports from there. So as a chief revenue officer of a company, if you're looking to get a 30,000 foot view of sales, I recommend that you first do sales forecasting and then you look into some advanced reporting options. Just know with a lot of these modern BI tools and CRM tools, they can do automatic reporting. So you don't have to worry about like exporting into an Excel sheet and using these different formulas. You can set it and forget it. And when I say set it, forget it, you can set up the report, and you can you can filter that report, and then you can set a schedule to email you right before your weekly marketing meeting every single week. That way your team, all of your team, and you can set up a distribution list so all of your team has a PDF copy ready to go, and there's no fumbling around to get the report ready. It's just sent to you. All right, let's go over the last scenario here, being about customer success. And that scenario is, as a customer success manager, you've just met with with sales or the sales team to discuss a better sales handoff process. How can a CRM help? Now, to take a step back again, this is more revenue operations, right? How can we streamline both how sales operations and customer success operations work together across people, process, and applications or technology being used? Well, one thing that you can do here that would be super helpful is you can use a CRM portal. So a CRM portal is something that you can, and there's lots of different portal options for the technology that's out there right now. But basically you can provide a portal for your customers. That way they can edit data related to their account or contact or any other associated records for that matter. And if you go into advanced portals, you can even let them see their billing information, their desk tickets, their projects, and much more data. You can even embed analytics dashboards right onto a portal. There's a lot that you can do, but generally CRMs will just offer a basic CRM portal to edit the information from within a CRM for your customers. So that's one thing that you can do that can be helpful in customer success, just to give your customers a chance to see the data that you have, and then for them to be able to edit it for you instead of having to go through you to edit that data. So that's one thing that you can do in customer success to reduce the friction there of processes. Another thing that you can do in this situation is you can also add custom fields. So you'll add custom fields, and then you can also have custom views of those fields for customer success. So what does that mean? Well, essentially it means if there are key pieces of information that need to be viewed by customer success, you can add user licenses for the customer success managers. That way they can see that a deal has been closed won, it's been assigned to them. Again, you can do automatic deal assignment over to those customer success managers in a round robin fashion or based on criteria. And then you can, maybe you don't want your customer success manager seeing all the data within the CRM. Well, you can customize the view of data and records that they can see with their user license. So very, very interesting stuff, something to consider. That way they don't have to rely on direct correspondence with the sales representative to get that data. They can just go into the CRM and see it. And that really brings us to something that is super core to really cloud-based software in general, but especially the CRM. And it's having a centralized database. Oftentimes you'll see sales reps, customer success managers, they have a very decentralized database. And what that means is each of them have their own way of storing data for their customers and taking their customers through the sales process. They invent their own ways of doing things. Now, that's not horrible in and of itself, but it prevents you from collecting data and easily onboarding new employees, makes reporting extremely difficult, and it prevents you from having a holistic view of your pipeline. And so bringing all of that data under one application is super important. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you are looking for a CRM system, we highly recommend that you go with Zoho One. Zoho One is a very affordable solution and it's very robust. It can really help you reduce the friction of your sales operations and your revenue operations as a whole. Zoho One offers 50 plus applications, and we have left a link below to get you a free 30-day trial to Zoho One. What's nice about this is you don't even have to enter your credit card information. You can just get on the free trial and off you go.